stand at the edge of a grave without the comfort of religious certainty, and the internal monologue changes. This poem's recursive rhythm relies on a specific atmosphere, an auditory loop that mimics the stillness of a cemetery. The rest appears unending, in cemeteries far and near. May a master know what's pending, for those thought to be transcending. Below the walk is what I fear. The rest appears unending. Reposed, a temporary suspending, in sleep that's neither here nor there. May a master know what's pending, for what I'm clearly comprehending is a fear of which I swear. The rest appears unending. How will souls some way be ascending, receiving supremely rendered care? May a master know what's pending. What's the point of any pretending, if we are destined for nowhere? The rest appears unending. May a master know what's pending. The final sense of stasis is an engineered illusion. Michael Eugene Cantrall wrote this for an Argue Against Yourself contest, adopting a persona that directly challenged his own convictions. He utilized the villanelle, 19 lines, 5 tercets, 1 quatrain, and a rigid A1-B-A2 rhyme pattern. This structural mandate creates a state of prosodic claustrophobia. Cantrall failed 7 iterations before the final version flowed through. This technical struggle mirrors the agnostic's own labor, the exhausting, repetitive effort of a soul attempting to find a path toward faith. The stone monuments of a 19th-century cemetery serve as a visual metaphor for the poem's structure. The villanelle's repetition functions as a physical boundary, locking existential dread into a recursive loop. To understand the narrator's anxiety, we have to look at the specific structural bars of this cage. The first refrain anchors the poem's focus. The rest appears unending. Cantrall subverts the word rest. Instead of a peaceful transition, he renders it as a terrifying, static vacancy. The word appears signals an epistemological judgment. The narrator's fear is rooted in sensory evidence, the visual silence of the mossy grave, rather than theological conviction. The second refrain shifts the interrogation toward the divine. May a master know what's pending. A tension exists between the titles may not and the refrains may. The deliberate use of a lowercase master highlights a profound uncertainty regarding the existence and attentiveness of a divine listener. These refrains force the narrator to bounce between the visceral reality of the dirt and the unanswerable silence of the divine. Inside the tercets, we find the B rhymes: near, fear, there, swear, care, nowhere. In a villanelle, these are the only lines that do not repeat. Introducing new information, they represent an attempt to generate linear movement. However, structural rules force the refrains to return and crush this progress. Each new thought is reset by familiar lines. Phonetic choices like heavy consonants and dragging vowels further enforce a weary, slow reading pace. The rhyme scheme engineers a feeling of intellectual exhaustion. Cantrall's edits reinforce this weight. In 2026, 10 years after the initial draft, he made highly specific formatting adjustments to the capitalization. Capitalizing the beginning of mid-sentence lines mimics 17th century orthography, which lends the poem a historical gravity. This creates ambiguity regarding the narrator. Is this an agnostic visitor, or a consciousness already fixed in the daguerreotype stillness of the grave? The text explicitly rejects the upward trajectory of those ascending. It focuses on the perspective below the walk, fixating on the rough-hewn crypt. This ambiguity is central to the poem's design. It thrives by refusing the reader a definitive resolution. The climax occurs in the final quatrain, where the poem breaks its 3-line pattern and pairs the words pretending and nowhere. The narrator challenges the closed loop of religious hope, questioning the point of any pretense if the destination is void. But just as the narrator flirts with a nihilistic conclusion, the villanelle's mandate forces the two refrains to couple. They lock together, sealing the narrator into a cycle of permanent oscillation. This final unit confirms the narrator's destination as a nowhere that is both a physical grave and a mental state. The gold trophy win in the Argue Against Yourself contest validates this difficult structural execution. Readers recognized how the author utilized formal tedium to mirror the cycle of doubt. Pure recognition confirmed that the poem successfully fulfilled the contest's difficult mandate. The text succeeds by weaponizing its rigid constraints. The exhaustion of not knowing is the only unending rest the narrator can confirm.